Hello and welcome to my channel, Thriving, Not Just Surviving. I'm your host, Charlie Henry. Today we have a really special guest on the show, Fiona Ingham. Fiona is a well-established London-based colour analyst and personal stylist who has been involved in the training team and is consistently awarded star consultant status by the international image consultancy House of Colour. She has run workshops over more than 20 years for private and corporate clients, enabling them to project their personal brand and present themselves effectively in any professional or social setting. Welcome, Fiona. Welcome to my channel. I'm so delighted.
Thank you.
So I want to just start off by saying, for those obviously who don't know and who've never heard of colour analyst as a job, what is a colour analyst? What do you do?
Right. Well, I see clients, both men and women, and work out which are going to be the best colours for them. And the colours that work for people are dependent on their skin tone, their eye colour, and their natural hair colour. So I've got here, you can see some of them behind me, 144 different drapes of colour, and there's an organised way of comparing them. So we put lots of drapes on and work out what works best for the skin tones. And there are 4 sections which are each given a seasonal name. So people find out whether they're an autumn, a spring, a summer, or a winter. And they get given a colour fan of colours. It all takes about 2.5 hours. This would be my fan of colours. I'm an autumn in the terminology. And Charlie, your fan of colours as a winter would be those types of colours. So what it's really giving people, 1/4 of the colour wheel, so they can go off and shop and know that everything that they buy is going to make them look good, hopefully feel good, feel confident. They're going to save money, save time, and they're going to build a sustainable wardrobe. So I think that's it really in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did your course, going back, it's about 8 years now, or maybe even 7 years, something like that.
Gosh.
And I really felt like it was almost a turning point for me in terms of how I look at my colour and my style, because I realised when I came to your course that I've been wearing entirely the wrong colours for my skin tone, and I was really just blindly following fashion, which I think a lot of people tend to do, and also wasting a lot of money. So your point that you just made about building a wardrobe that's more sustainable is a really good one, because now I feel like, because my wardrobe is full of colours that really complement and look good on my skin, I just spend less money on clothes, and I spend less time shopping, because I can walk past a shop now and just look at a glance and say, well, there's no colours in there for me. This is not the right shop for me. And I don't even bother going in. So it saved me so much time and so much money. So I just wanted to show a little bit about what you're talking about, because I've bought some of the look good on me and don't look. So this colour that I'm wearing now, this red, was one that you said was, my strongest, my best colour. And I've got a lot of clothes in this colour now, this bright red. The other colours, the berry colours, also look pretty good. So if I just show this against my skin, you can kind of see, and the lipstick that I'm wearing is kind of berry colour.
The cool skin tones, that's really, really good. Yeah, dreadful on me.
Yeah, and the other ones, some of these strong colours, like this emerald green looks, again, is another one that I wear quite often. And
really good.
This kind of cobalt blue, I find looks very nice on me as well. So these were some of the colours that you gave. And then just to give an idea of some of the ones that you are not so good on me, I don't know if people can see the difference. These kind of wishy-washier colours, like the lilac, like a pastel lilac. And then it was actually quite hard for me to find these clothes, because I don't own any of them anymore, but I borrowed them from my daughter. Yeah, my daughter's got them. And then these kind of, like, especially the busy patterns, but also kind of the colours that, these kind of sort of wishy-washier. This is more of an autumn. I think this is more of your colour palette.
Warmer one, yeah.
And you can see it kind of washes out my face straight away, and I think also ages me as well. So hopefully that's given you some kind of idea, the people who are viewing, what we're talking about. How did your career as a colour analyst and stylist begin?
Well, it was in 1987, and I was working as a speech and language therapist, and quite happily. And I went and had my colours done, and I thought, oh wow, this really works. This is fantastic, and it's the sort of job that I could enjoy. So I was lucky enough to get trained by someone called Carolyn Miller, who was fantastic. And I got trained, and there I was at home with the telephone and an empty diary. And I had to think, how do I get any clients? Because obviously there was no internet then. So I started on my poor family and friends, and they recommended me on. I did a million talks, free talks, anywhere you could think of, in London, around London. I did some wonderful ones, for example, in Essex at golf clubs and a tennis club, and I got millions of clients from that, you know, so, and some of them I still hear from, really nice. So yeah, and it's been fun because it's evolved over the years. Obviously, everything about how people dress has changed completely. So we've had to keep abreast of all of that. And it's very nice because I meet people from all walks of life. You know, as I said, it's men and women. And I meet people I would never have met before, you know, working in my speech therapy job. So it's just always been great fun.
Yeah.
And obviously the pandemic was a challenge, but I managed to do some Zoom courses for clients on that. So that was good.
Oh, great. And I think the whole technology piece with Zoom actually has opened up quite a lot more of this type of thing, because I think when people are on a Zoom call, they can see their face kind of in higher definition and they realize, you know, perhaps that they're not wearing the right color and that they do need help with their clothing.
Absolutely, yeah. And if people can just get into the right colors and a bit of the right lipstick for the women, it can just make such a difference to their look. I mean, I should show you really just a couple of colors on me. Shall I show you that are wrong? These are just some stripes of colors. They're not the ones I would use actually in the analysis, because I use individual ones, but these are composite ones. So I'm, as I said, warm base person. These are cool base colors. And if I wanted to make myself older and more boring looking, I could get into those. Whereas these would be my autumn colors that are much warmer and richer. Yeah. And if we look for neutrals, the cool based neutrals would be that. You'll see there's black in there. And as an autumn, I don't wear any black, but I can wear all of these colors, which this season, of course, are terribly fashionable. So if they're right for you, that is great. If they're wrong for you, you know, whatever the trend, it's better to keep to the ones that are right for you.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because I have seen a lot of those kind of colours in the shops, and as a result, I've not really been buying much this year because there's just nothing.
Yes, the autumns and springs are absolutely delighted that they all those ones have come in.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to move on to talking about the style aspect, because you don't just do colour, you also do style. So just walk us through the specifics of that.
Sure. Well, the colour class is shorter, but the style session, an individual session, is for about 4 hours, and it's working through a book. I don't know if I can show it here very well. So we work through, and the client fills out the book during the session. First of all, we look at all the general information about getting a wardrobe together, buying, shopping, accessorizing, dressing for work, however casual or how formal the work look is. Obviously now there's much more casual dress, but it's still possible to get that really good or really bad. So we look at all of that. And then we go on to looking at the body shape, face shape, proportions, height. And then we do a personality questionnaire based loosely on ideas of yang and yinness. And from all that information, I can work out the person's clothing personality, which range, there are various options, but the 6 basic ones would be classics, dramatics, naturals, gamines, who are boyish, ingenues, who are girly, dainty, pretty, and romantics, who are glamorous. and we're usually a mix of two. I'm classic with gamine, and our clothing personality does stay with us throughout our life. So that is a theme, whether we are 20 or 90, we still be somehow honoring the clothing personality.
Yeah, so I found that to be really useful to me as well. And what was interesting is that, because it matches with kind of with who you are as a person, I think I was much more instinctively following that even when I was younger, whereas I wasn't necessarily following the colors. But things like, so for example, I'm a natural dramatic, so I would wear, when I was younger, I would wear kind of like very large polka dot prints and big earrings, and and so I was doing that before I even knew that I was kind of a natural dramatic.
Great.
Instinctively, yeah. I knew that I had this dramatic flair to my personality, and I was honoring that. So I was really happy when I found out that I was a natural dramatic, because I knew, yes, it feels like me, it feels natural to me, and I've carried on. I think I mostly dress natural, but I do put in some splashes of dramatic, and definitely when I'm going out in the evening, like especially when I'm going to a nightclub or maybe a theatre show or something, then I might wear a whole outfit that's dramatic. So I really have fun and play with it, and that's one of the things that allows you to do that.
That's the nice thing about it, isn't it? That you can work it in your own way. So, maybe for me with classic gamine, for a very formal setting, I would go to more the classic side of the personality. Whereas for gamine, I can go much more boyish and into the little jumpsuit or whatever. And it's fun, really. It's good.
Yeah, it has made.
But and it is the bit of honouring both how we look and how we feel as a person.
Exactly. So it's kind of matching it with your personality, that's why it doesn't change, because although we might change aspects of ourselves, fundamentally we're quite similar as we get older.
Sure.
So that kind of leads me to the next question, which is, I think this channel focuses on longevity, but part of that is obviously helping people to look and feel their best. One thing that I often talk about with friends, and that I guess I struggle with a little bit as I'm getting older, is how to balance this kind of sort of following fashions, but also not looking ridiculous or like you're trying to dress younger than your age. So I guess my question is, what mistakes do you think are most common that people make with their clothing and style as they age?
Right. I think I think it isn't so much in a way that people have a problem with clinging on to the younger looks. I think often people will maybe feel they put on a bit of weight or something's changed, so they're going to baggy and shapeless clothes. Often people will not accessorize, and just adding the earrings, the necklace, the scarf, the belt, the nice shoes, the good bag, whatever that is right for the person makes such a difference to the look. I quite often see people who say, oh yes, I used to bother. When I was younger, before I had the children, I always used to put my makeup on. I always used to accessorize. And then they kind of forget. So I think really quite a lot of mistakes are made there. I think sometimes, or quite frequently, mistakes can be made with hair, because if people, we've got the choice, and people do, I want to have it going grey gradually or not. And now, of course, silver hair is terribly fashionable. So some of very young people are making their hair go grey. So, I mean, and that's totally a decision, obviously, for the person to make. I think, but colour, when grey is coming into the hair, a very big mistake people can make if they do colour it is put the wrong tone in the hair. So, for example, the cool base people, they have to completely stay away from anything that would be auburn, cinnamon, honey, golden, because that will have a very bad effect on the skin tones and will really wash them out. Yes. Like wearing the wrong colour. So I think if you're colouring the hair, getting it right. Also, some people can keep the wonderful long tresses forever and look fab. Other people, maybe the hair goes a bit thinner or the texture changes. And maybe can reassess and just say, oh, maybe if I had a different style, that might suit me better. So I think those are some of the things I would say that that can age people. Obviously, if some people who don't declutter their wardrobe and they keep dragging out things that they were wearing years before that have got the wrong shoulder line, etc. Or I think also people who really feel they've got to follow fashion madly. So for the moment, there are so many very oversized trouser suits around, for example, or the baggy jeans fashion, which is fabulous on some of the, maybe the full naturals, on some looks of people, it's great. If I do it at my 5'2" and small stature, if I do either of those, I just look baggy, shapeless, and ridiculous. Do you see? But I can do the waistcoats that are around, they work for me. So I think it's really about knowing ourselves and knowing that what works, but also, well, one does have to say, and I don't think at your age this is true, but when you're older, like my age, maybe one might wish to cover up the arms a bit more, for a special occasion. I certainly do. And as a gamine, when I was younger, I'd have the skirts, because my skirts need to be quite neat and short, and I'd have the structured skirt above the knee. Well, now my knees aren't, well, they never were gorgeous, but they're worse than they were. So I prefer to cover them up, or the line going across the knee, because longer than that looks very dowdy on me. So I think it's just looking at yourself. I've got a lovely friend who always looks great, and she's like, oh, I don't care what my arms are like. I'm not going to cover them up. Why should I? And why should she? So it's kind of a choice, really.
Absolutely. And I think you made a couple of really good points. One is, it's about knowing yourself, and I think this course is one of those things that really helps you to know yourself. But also, I think for me, it made me kind of zero in on sort of what my strengths are in terms of my body shape and my personality, and I think that those were things that possibly I might have stumbled on intuitively. Some people have got this amazing intuitive ability to be able to know exactly what looks good on them and stuff, but I don't think I necessarily did. I mean, in certain aspects, yes, but certainly not in body shape. And I think the point you made about often people think if they've put on a bit of weight, they just need to kind of envelop themselves in swathes of fabric and stuff. And that can often make you look actually bigger than you are. If you're a kind of voluptuous person, but you've kind of got a cinched in waist, then accentuate that waist. Even if you've put on a bit of weight, you've still got the waist,
Yeah, exactly. It's about really accentuating all the good points, isn't it? And going with them. And I do get people, I had somebody recently who said, oh, now I'm so big after I've had the children, I'm so big that I don't know what to buy at all. And I said, what do you mean you're so big? I mean, she wasn't big at all. But sometimes if we change slightly, we look at it in a negative way or see it in a way that is so unobjective, really. But the idea of the whole house of color and style thing is that nothing is good or bad. Whether you're petite or cool base, warm base, large, big, you can dress in a way that flatters yourself. And I think the studies that have been done in various American universities about better looking people earning more money is really quite interesting, because I would say it's not the person who leaps out of bed looking gorgeous who is that, it's the person who knows how to get out of bed and make themselves look good.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I was watching a video recently.
And I mean, the studies that do definitely show perceived better looking, earn more money for themselves and their company. But really, we can all do it if we want to.
Yeah,
we can
learn.
Make ourselves look okay or good.
Exactly, you can learn. I was just going to say, I was watching a video recently on YouTube actually that was talking about celebrities, and they always look amazing in photos, but what the guy doing the video made me understand is that they've all had coaching in how to look good in photos. That's why they look amazing. It's not necessarily, of course, some of them are genetically very gifted and very
yes.
people, but they've also made themselves look more attractive by having coaching on how to look into the camera properly, how to kind of take a good photo so that every photo is a good photo. And, you know, I think what really stood out for me is that we can all learn how to look our best. We can learn how to dress really well. We can learn how to, what colors look good on us. We can learn, how to look good in Zoom or how to look good in front of a camera. And then, like you say, we will be perceived better by society. We will earn more. We'll be perceived as more confident. And that can have so many benefits in life.
Exactly. And I think it's something often people maybe in this country don't like to sort of say, that people judge by appearances. You know, I'm aware some talks that I do that some people might start off by thinking, oh, what does it matter? It doesn't matter what I look like. It's if I'm good at my job that counts. And with that, I sometimes do a demonstration where I go in very smartly dressed with the right sort of dress code for their organization. And then I ask them questions about me, and they give me these wonderful idea, what does my home look like? Oh, it's tidy, ordered, colorful, it's this, that, and the other. What's my favorite drink? Oh, champagne, white wine. Where do I go for holidays? I get these wonderful places. And hobbies, yoga, Pilates, flower arranging. And then I just take off all my accessories, take off my lipstick, put on an old cardie at the end of the talk. And I say, okay, well, let's go back to those questions. What do you think? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, but I think your house is a bit untidy. And you've maybe got a lot of cats, and you've a nice cup of tea. Do you see? And it's so funny because it's really proving the point that people have made up a little paragraph about me when they've just seen me, when I haven't even spoken to them.
Yeah, probably completely subconsciously without even realizing it. I mean, obviously in that exercise they are telling you, but that happens all the time without people even consciously thinking
because
about
we have to, just to simplify our life, don't we? Sort of make decisions, I suppose, which are often wrong, but they do stick. And it's the thing, 90% of the impression in the first 90 seconds idea, and then it's very hard to change that.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to just move on and touch a little bit on the makeup and the hair. You talked a little bit about kind of hair colors, how hair colors can be wrong. And one of the things that I learned when I came to do the course was about lipsticks, because I hadn't been really wearing lipsticks at all. And I think I was really missing a trick. And I see a lot of women not experimenting with lip colors at all. And I always get complimented by other people, but I think a lot of women are just too kind of, well, they don't know what they're doing with lipsticks really, so then they'd rather just not wear them at all. So what kind of advice can you give to people in that regard?
Yes, well, all I would say is, I honestly don't know how many women who've come to me over the years, and if they show me their lipstick, it will be a kind of browny, pinky brown, very pale shade, whatever they're coloring, it'll be the same one. And I always say, oh, I wish I'd collected them over the years, because people wouldn't believe. But really, the lipstick needs to be related to the skin tones, and the idea of the lipstick bringing contrast into the face is hugely important. So for the warm-based people, they would more be going for the corals or the rusts or the orangey reds, whereas for you, cool-based, you would be going for more the classic red, the blue red, or the burgundy, or the strong pinks. And really, whatever, whether someone's going on the school run, or they're going to Sainsbury's, or they're going to a ball, they can, if for the former ones, they can just put on the splodge with their fingertips. But for a special event, 2 layers, blotted and powdered in between, and a lip pencil around them. And especially on Zoom, honestly, the difference is huge. But it is one of the things in my colour sessions. It's one of the hardest things for women to see on themselves. I don't know if it was with you.
No,
But if I
I
have
saw
a look
it immediately.
through,
I saw it like as soon as you put the red, the
you
bright
see it.
red. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
this. I don't know why I haven't been doing this the whole time. It looks amazing
yeah,
on me, and
yeah,
that still is a color that I return to again and again.
yeah, yeah.
Favorite.
No, that's great. But many women, the rest of the group will all say that lipstick that looks fab on you. You know, you look much better than when you came in. You look younger, brighter. It shows your eye color. But they're like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know, because I think it's very scary to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. But I think especially on Zoom, the lipstick makes such a difference to the person fading into the background of all those squares, to being actually seen.
Yeah, and I
So,
remember you mentioning that actually the contrast of the face, that research has shown that when somebody is analysing whether you're older or younger, it's actually, if you have greater contrast, that's what makes people think
yes,
that the person is younger versus a washed out face with no contrast
yes,
and no lipstick and no blush would make the person look older.
yeah, yeah, yes, which is interesting, isn't it? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh.
that's yeah. So
So you also do style and colour for men. In what way is what you offer to men similar or different to what you offer to women?
um, what is well, the color is the same, really. We go through the same process often, and I know one should not make generalizations, but very often the men are just more, they just want to know what it is and go off and do it. They don't have an emotional attachment to loving the olive green or the raspberry or something, which sometimes women do. But we do go through the same process. So we find their season, we find the best colors within the season. Men and women, they both get a little booklet which we fill out that have got a color rating in through the best colors and lots of information in. So yeah, that's the color. The style, we don't go into the body shapes in as much detail because they don't need that. But we talk about sorting the wardrobe. I find out always their profession because I try to tailor the style sessions to the person, obviously. So, you know, what's useful for them. Although during our life, sometimes we suddenly have to dress for a different type of job, don't we? So, but anyway, so we look at that. We do the personality questionnaire and we look at their proportions. So you can say, you know, what length the trousers should be, what length the jacket's going to be, the correct sleeve length, etc. And it's been quite, I'm just thinking, quite amusing recently, hasn't it, with all this comment about Rishi Sunak's trouser length being too short, which I thought was quite funny. Yeah.
That is quite amusing.
Sorry?
That is quite amusing, yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite fun, really, having them talking about men's clothes for a change rather than, you know, Jill Biden's fishnet tights or Camilla's jumpsuit. So it makes a bit of a change when it's men.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I just want to talk about a little bit about your how to find you now online, because you've kindly offered subscribers to this channel a discount of 10% on colour or colour and style booked by the end of October 2023. And you can also you'll find details of that plus a link to your website and your email address. I'll put that below so that people can see you there. And we can also follow you on Instagram at House of Colour Fiona Ingham. I'll also include that in the description below.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. And my email address you've got there, have you?
Yes, I have.
Yes. So that's it, really. So it's mainly Instagram on. I don't really do Twitter or, well, I am on LinkedIn, but I hardly look at it actually. So
Yeah, I think you have to choose your social media channels quite carefully, otherwise it becomes quite
yes,
overwhelming, doesn't it?
yeah.
Almost a
And
full-time
just
job.
talking of social media, just to say, interestingly, color analysis, people may know, has become incredibly fashionable at the moment. I think a lot through TikTok. So
Oh.
loads of people are coming to me who've tried to self-diagnose and got into a bit of a tangle. So it's made it really busy. It's really weird.
Oh, well, that's wonderful to hear that you're busy. That's amazing.
Yes. In a way, yes.
It's always good.
Yes.
Well, I think that concludes our interview. Unless there's anything else you want to add, I'll probably wrap it up there.
Yes, I can't think hopefully I've explained the subject, and obviously if you want to get in touch and find out any more, I'd be very happy, and thank everyone for listening, really.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Fiona, for coming on the channel. It's been an absolute delight and an honor to have you on here, and you know, I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, good. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.